Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. In today's session, we'll be having a look at how to model and analyze a portal frame using SAP. So the first thing that you need to do when you open your SAP is that you need to select the units that you are going to use in your complete modeling. So which can be done if you go to the right bottom corner. So this is an option where you see all the units that you can use. So I'll be using Newton mm for the time being. So all the forces will be in Newton, all the dimensions will be in mm, all the stresses will be in Newton per mm square. Okay. So the first thing is select the units. Then we want to go to file, and in file we want to go to new model. In new model, you'll see dialog box. It takes a bit time because it's a trial version. If you open it in the paid version, you will see that it is working quite fast. You have to wait for a minute. Surprisingly, it's taking time. Yeah, okay. So once you click new model, you will see these options. Okay, so these are the preloaded templates that you can use. But I would recommend that you should always go for grid only because it gives you a lot of customization and everything is in your hand. So let us select grid only. And let's say I want to create a portal frame with 2 columns and 1 beam. So 2 columns and 1 beam, and that's a portal frame in my XZ plane. So my horizontal direction will be X, vertical direction would be Z, and the plane which is going inside would be Y. So along X direction, since I have 2 columns, I'll use 2 grid lines. Along Y direction, let us keep it as 1 because we have a 2D figure that we need to draw. Along Z direction again, let us put 2. So that is there. Let us consider that the spacing between two grid lines horizontally is 10 meters. And if you remember, the dimension was selected as mm. So 10 meters would be 10,000 mm. Similarly, I am interested in the Z direction. Let us consider the height to be 5 meters. So that would be 5,000 mm. Right? So when you press OK, you will see a grid something like this. So let me go to this 2D view. For 2D view, if you remember, we are playing with XZ plane. So I'll select XZ from here. If you see my cursor, I'll click on this. So this view is a 2D view now. This horizontal distance is 10 meters, vertical distance is 5 meters. Right. Now, I'll go to define. And for the time being, let us consider that the self weight is 0. So for that, I should go to load patterns here. And in load patterns, I am required to make this self-weight multiplier as 0. And once you press 0, you need to also click on this modify load pattern. Unless and until you click on this modify, see, this value is to be changed. Once you click modify, this becomes 0. So now, whatever dead loads are there in your structure, SAP won't be considering them. So your structure is practically weightless and massless. So only the external load that you apply here will be considered. Other loads will be neglected. So I'll press OK. And now I need to define my material. So since we are neglecting the dead load and the actual material property won't affect, but still let us consider M30 grade of concrete for the time being. So for that, what we can do, you need to go to define. And the first option that you see is materials. You click on that. Once you click on this material, you'll see this dialog box. Here, there are certain options: add new material, add copy of material, modify show materials, and delete material. So add new material is, as the name suggests, it is used when you want to add a new material. Add copy of material means if you have already defined a material and you just want to change a single parameter, then instead of going for a new material, you can select that and add copy of material. Then all the properties will be copied and then you can just edit that remaining one setting. Then modify material would be that you have defined a material and now you want to change certain parameters. So then modify material can be selected. And delete material is that when you want to delete a material. So right now, we are interested in add new material. Again, when you click on add new material, you will see a new dialog box like this. Here, we see that we can select region, we can select which type of material is there, and then their standard and grade. So right now, I am interested in M30 grade of concrete, which is Indian standard. So I'll select India. From this region, I want India. From materials, I'll select concrete. So see, India, you can select steel, concrete, aluminum, different materials are there. So right now I'm interested in concrete. In standards, I'll select Indian again. And in Indian, I want M30 grade concrete. So grade, I'll keep it as 30. So this is M30. And I'll press OK. Right? So M30 grade concrete is there. I'll again press OK. And my material is practically defined. So once material is defined, you need to define the section of your beams and columns. So for that, again, I'll go to define, and now this time I'll go to section properties. Here, I want to select frame sections. Once you select frame sections, again, you have an option of add new property. Add new property. Now, in the previous sessions also, I have told you that this steel built up section, concrete, aluminum, this is just for your consideration. It does not mean that if you select steel, then your member will be a steel member. No. Even if you select steel from here, and even if you select some shape from the steel, but you assign your M30 grade concrete to that section, then your section is a concrete section made up of M30 material. Right? So this only defines the shape. So right now I'm interested in rectangle. So either I can take this rectangle from steel, or I can go to concrete and again I can select rectangle. It will be one and the same thing. It won't have any difference. Okay. So let us take it from concrete and let us select rectangular from here. Okay. Let us name our columns. So column, and let me have a column of 400 by 500 or so. Okay. So I'll call it column 400 by 500. So this is the name of my column which I am giving. Depth is 500 mm and width is 400 mm. Okay. So you can see here it has given you shape. Depth is 500 and width is 300. Now this point is important, where you select material, and from this pull down menu we'll select that same material M30 grade of concrete that we have previously defined. So once I select M30, that means this column is made up of M30 grade of concrete. Okay. And I'll be pressing OK. So this will create my column. Similarly, I want to create my beam. So again, I'll go to add new properties. I'll again select a rectangle. Now let us call this as beam, and let us have 300 by 200 beam. So 300 by 200. So depth is 300 and width is 200. And again, I want it to be made up of M30 grade. So I'll select M30 and I'll press OK. So this way my column and beam are defined. I'll press OK. And now I want to assign those or draw those columns and beams on my grid. So I need to go to draw. Here I'll select draw frame cables. And this kind of a dialog box will be there, and you'll see this kind of a cursor in the form of an arrow. Okay. When you see an arrow cursor, that means your SAP has made itself ready to draw different elements. So first, from this pull down menu, I'll select column 400 by 500 and I'll select this column. Always remember that while drawing columns, you should always draw from bottom to top, and while drawing beams, you should always draw from left to right. So this column, I'll click once. When I click once, you'll see this dotted line started coming. So that means column has started. Now I want to terminate that column. So again, I'll click on this grid line. So my column is now created. You'll see that it will become blue. So that indicates that a column has been drawn. But still this blue grid line is continuing here. Okay, so what should I do? I should right click. As I right click, that dotted line has disappeared. Now again, I can go to this joint. Again, I'll click, one click and two click. So this way second column is also created. Again, second column I have drawn from bottom to top. And again, I'll right click. Once I right click, again, the column definition is completed. From this pull down menu, I'll select beam. And again, as I told you, beam should be drawn from left to right. So I'll select this left joint first, and then I'll select this right joint. So this way, my beams and columns are drawn. So now I can again right click, and then I need to press escape. So once you press escape, that dialog box will disappear. Okay. Now you want to see whether your beams and columns are assigned properly or not. So for that, we'll go to this checkbox. In this checkbox, you need to select the section option. So what it will do, that whatever sections you have defined, name of those sections will appear on your screen. So once you click OK, you'll see that this column is column 400 by 500. This is also column 400 by 500, and this is a beam 300 by 200. So this is okay. This is what we were intending to do. Okay. Now I need to give fixed supports here. So both the joints I'll select. I'll select this joint and I'll select this joint. Both the joints are selected. I'll now go to assign. Now I need to go to joints. The first option which is available is joints. And I'll again go to restraints. Again, the first option. Restraints, I want fixed supports at both the ends. So I'll click on this fixed support and I'll press OK. So you'll see this symbol indicates fixed support. A rectangle indicates fixed support. So both the columns are terminating in fixed supports. Right? That is what we were intending to do. Now I need to assign loads on this. So let us assign a load on the first column, which is going towards right and acting at the center. So what I need to do, I need to select this column. I'll select this column. You see it has been selected. Now I'll go to assign, and now this time I need to go to this frame load because I want to apply a load on the frame. So I'll select a frame load. Under frame load, what kind of loading I want to apply? I want to apply a point load. Point load on the frame. So I'll select this point. Okay. This dialog box appears. Now, also simultaneously look at this figure. Now, I want to apply a horizontal load which is acting towards right and which is acting at the center. So first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that this is dead. Then I need to make sure that this is global, and the direction of load, it has to be along X direction. X direction, if you see my cursor here, X is the horizontal direction which is going towards right. So if I select X here, that means whatever load I give, that will be along this X axis. Okay, where I want to give it, I want to give that load at the center of my column. So I'll keep this as a relative distance. Relative distance means the first point of your column is 0. The second point of your column is 1. Okay, so similarly, if I want to apply a load at the center, that distance will be relatively 0.5. So what I need to do, I need to select 0.5 here, 0.5. And let us say I want to apply the load as 100 kilonewton or 100 Newton. Let us keep it as 100 Newton. So I'll press 100, positive 100. Why positive 100? Because this x-axis is already going towards right. So I'll put 100, so the load will be along positive x-axis. And if you remember, in the first step, we had selected newtons. So when I press 100, it is by default 100 newtons. Okay. And rest of the things, you can keep it as 0. When you press OK, you will see that 100 Newton force is applied at the center of your column. Now this name of columns will create a confusion. So let us remove those names for the time being. So again, I'll uncheck this section option. So the names of the column will disappear. Only loads will be shown. Okay. Now let us also apply a UDL on this beam. So again, I'll select this beam. I'll go to assign. Now frame loads. Now in this case, I want to apply UDL. So I'll select distributed. Frame loads and then distributed. Okay. Here I'll select dead, global. Gravity direction I'll keep because gravity direction is by default downwards acting. So I'll keep it as gravity because I want to apply it on the horizontal beam. So gravity is fine. Then in uniform load option, I'll put, let's say 20 Newton per mm. This is the UDL that I want to provide. So I'll put 20 here. And now since I have already entered one load in dead load pattern, which is seen here, what I need to do, I need to select this add new existing. Why I'm doing this? Because already once I have applied a load and I want to add another load to that same existing combination. So that's why I'll select add new existing here and I'll press OK. Rest of the things do not disturb. Only uniform load will keep it as 20 Newton per mm. You need to select this add to existing load and make sure that this is gravity. Once you press OK, you'll see that 20 Newton per mm UDL is applied here. Okay. Now, let us go to this third column and let's say I want to again apply same amount of load which is going towards left this time. So 100 Newton load at the center going towards left. So again I'll select this. I'll go to assign and frame loads and again point load this time. Okay. Now make sure that this is dead global. It is X because we want to apply horizontal load. So it is X. Now add to existing and I want to apply that load at the center, but this time it should be acting towards left. If you see the orientation of your grid line is X axis is going towards right. So right side is positive, left side is negative. So this time I want to apply negative load. So I'll put -100 here. Okay, -100 at center. And I'll press OK. You see, -100 load is there. So don't get confused if this UDL disappears. It is still there. So what SAP does, it will display, by default display one kind of load at a time. So if you are seeing point loads, then UDL won't be shown. If you're seeing UDL, point loads won't be shown. If you want to see all the loads, what you need to do, you need to go to display here, show element loads assigned. You need to go to frames because you want to see the loads which are assigned on the frame. You press OK here. Another dialog box would appear. Just wait for a second. Here, you select dead. Right now, we are only interested in one load combination that is dead. I'll select OK. All the loads which are assigned under dead load case are shown here. So 100 here, 20 here, and 100 here. Right? And also the support conditions were fixed. Now I need to do is I need to define it to SAP that this is a 2D frame. So I'll go to analyze and I'll go to set analysis options. The first option which you see. Here I need to select XZ plane. I will select this option. So it will define to SAP that it's not a 3D figure, it's a 2D figure in XZ plane. It's a 2D portal frame. Okay, I'll select OK. And again I'll go to analyze and this time I'll select run analysis. Run analysis, you'll select run now. It will ask you to store this frame. So what you can do, you can store it as portal frame 1. So this is the name that I'm giving. Press save and it will analyze it. See, you can see the progress bar at the bottom. It will analyze. It will take some time to analyze. And once the analysis is done, see, this is the deformed shape. Since this was a non-sway frame, both the horizontal loads were cancelling each other. That's why you see that the columns have not deflected. Only the beam is deflecting. Why? Because left and right, both the columns are straight. Here, if I want to see the bending moment diagram, so I'll select frame, cables, and tendons. Here, if you remember, we should always look for shear 2-2 and moment 3. So if I want to have a look at bending moment diagram, I'll select moment 3-3. I'll keep this option as show value so that the values are shown and I'll press OK. See, so this is the bending moment diagram which we have. And now the fun part is since we have selected Newton and mm, this moment is also in Newton mm. And that's why you are seeing so large value 10 raised to 8 or something. So you can also change it. So let us keep it as kilonewton meter. So once I select kilonewton meter, see all the values are now in admissible ranges. So here on the first column, this is 162, this is 162, this bending moment is there 87, right? So this thing you can verify with your manual calculations also. Okay. Now if I want to see the shear force and bending moment for this column alone, I need to select this using left click, and then again I need to right click on that. So once you right click, this kind of a window will appear, which will show you what are the loads and reactions which are applied. So right now we have applied 100 Newton of load, and the units now which I have selected are kilonewton, right? So 100 Newton will become 0.1 kilonewton. So 0.1 kilonewton load I have applied. Reactions and bending moments you can see. On the left end, it is 77. On the right end, it is 162. So left hand indicates the bottom support. Right hand indicates the top support. Okay, since we have drawn our columns from bottom to top, so always in this diagram, left hand will indicate your bottom support and right hand will indicate the top point. Okay, now shear force is constant, 47.8 or 47.9. It is almost constant. Then bending moment is something like this. The values can be seen minus 77, minus 77 and 162. And this is the deflected shear. Again, you can move your cursor and you can see the values on the right hand side. Similarly, you can also see the bending moment and shear force for this beam. You need to select it and you need to right click on this. This is what you get. Okay. Similarly, resultant shear, bending moment is there, and this deflected shear is there. Also, if you want to see the bending moment and shear force for this column, you select it and right click. This kind of a assembly is there. Again, this left support indicates the bottom joint. Let me do this. Yeah. So see, 77 is at the bottom. It is showing on the left. Always remember, when you draw your columns from bottom to top, when you draw it from bottom to top, then your left support in this diagram will be your bottom joint and right support will be your top joint. So again, you can see the value 77, 162. Okay, and reactions are there, 47. Bending moment, shear force diagram, everything you can see. Okay. So now your task is to replicate this thing. What I want you to do is you draw this portal frame in your system. For the first time, you can keep the same loadings which I have assigned here and try to verify your model if you are getting the same values or not. Once you get the same values, then you can start playing with this. I'm sure that in structural mechanics, SM, for second year students, you might have solved a number of portal frame problems using different methods. You can also try to verify your results. So you can put your own loadings on this kind of a portal frame, and you can try to verify your manual results with the SAP. You will be surprised to see that the results are almost matching, and the variation is usually because of the rounding of error in the manual. But if you give proper iterations, then your manual results will completely match with your SAP results. Okay? So you can try to do that, and you need to analyze the structure, you need to get your results, and you need to upload your screenshot of this bending moment diagram on the provided link, which is provided on the Google Classroom. Okay. And with this, if you have any difficulty in solving portal frames, you let me know. In the next session, we'll try to see sway portal frames where the loading is a bit unsymmetrical. And once that is done, we'll move on to a 3D figure where we'll try to model a building as a whole. Okay. So with this, I'm ending the session. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any query, any difficulty, you can always call me on my WhatsApp number, or you can call me on my phone, and I'll be more than happy to solve your queries. Okay. Till then, bye-bye. Have a nice day.